So I realized this is going to be a trip for me every time I need to record a podcast or an episode because I have a particular way that I want it that it goes in my head. There's a particular way that it goes in my head, but when I'm supposed to start, it's completely different. But we get it done nonetheless. So yeah, welcome to the Royal Mobile Podcast. This being the second episode, I did want to have a feature, but I thought, let me just, do it by myself at this point and just um, engage with you guys a bit more as to what the purpose of this podcast is and what's been going through my mind, with the guests that we're going to have, we're going to have a lot of conversations and engage on what we go through in life and experience. But today, I wanted to speak on embracing and welcoming change in our lives, because it's never easy. It's never easy to allow yourself to shed and allow new growth, and just be open and welcoming to it, whichever way it may look, The one thing I firstly want to share is how grateful I am with the response of the first short video and the support of the people around me. I did not expect that at all. It was a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful start of a new journey, and how I was affirmed by a lot of my friends, peers, family members in this chapter that I'm starting in my life and going through. I found myself actually just before I loaded the podcast, just after I edited it, I had a few struggles. I was struggling to download it from where I was editing it from because my phone was just full. I was at the same time trying to order food, which took me about an hour to do. So that didn't work out very well. I was just very frantic because in my mind, the anxiety took over. It took over and like, are you doing the right thing? Are you sure about it? Are you going to load it on time? It's a Friday evening. Are people going to be watching? With you have all these things going on in your head that feel like they're about to stop you from doing it or from achieving that goal. And excuse me, I decided to push through. I pushed through it and I finally loaded it, and within minutes, shared it with my mom first, shared it with the family first, and then I went on to share with friends and all other platforms, and the response was amazing. The response was very positive, was very affirming, and it showed that a lot of us need to have these type of conversations, and we need a safe space to have these chats and engage more so we can find a way to help ourselves out of the situations we're in, right? At some point, it was so overwhelming that I stood in the passage here at home and I was crying. But it was a good cry. It was a happy cry. It was a positive cry. I had to let it out because I was out of words of how to express myself and how to thank all these people that are sending all these beautiful messages through to me. I just stood and I cried, and I loved that moment. I embraced that moment and I appreciated it so much because it just shows how much support we have, but you'll never realize it if you don't step into yourself and do what you are, destined to do, or what you've been talking about doing. I think we all have these conversations in our heads of, we have a world in our head, right? I think you just create this fantasy of, I want this, I want to achieve that, and. But when do you actually get to do it? When do you actually get to take the first step, implement it, so that you can live that life that you've been envisioning, right? And for me, it was a beautiful start because then I knew that everything that I had thought of can come to fruition. I just have to be the person to do it. I just have to allow myself to change certain parts about my life, or certain things that would potentially be in the way of me achieving that, would potentially block me from taking a step further in reaching that goal that I want to reach, right? The other important thing that I learned is the people around you, either they will affirm you or they will say, no, just continue doing what you're doing, you're fine. You have to decide who you want around you. You have to decide what role each individual is going to play in your life. Are you going to keep them there, or are you going to, it's fine, put them aside for a second and focus on you and do what you need to do. Hey, music. Am I in a better mood? Yes. Okay. I had a conversation with a friend today, or two friends, and one just sent me a link to this guy's page that just says, allow change in your life because change is good. And it made me think of so many moments that I had let slip by in my life because I was not ready for change, because I didn't want change to take place and I didn't like how change looked. We want God to bless us, but we're not ready as to how the blessing is going to come. We're not ready to receive that blessing because it just doesn't look too pretty. It's just not what you had expected or envisioned. But not realizing that in taking those necessary steps in your changing path, your vision is going to come true, no matter how the path looks like to your destiny or your destination. It is going to happen and it needs to happen. And for most times we want to try blame the next person that, oh no, they said I can't make it, so I'm just going to sit here. It's not for them to decide if you're going to make it or not. It's not for them to decide where you are destined to be. It's the decisions you choose to make, right? We consume ourselves with a lot of things that happen on social media. We consume ourselves with a lot of things that happen around us on a daily basis, whether it's with our friends, it's with family, work, whatever the case is, and what people say to us. And we allow that to sit in our hearts and in our minds in a way that is not going to help us grow. It's not going to help us reach these amazing destinations that we want to be in, and make the money we want to make, because we're not ready to take the necessary steps. And in that also being said, it's a case of, what does change look like to you? What do you want it to be? And when you're changing, what are you changing for? What are you changing to achieve? For me, the longest time, I think I worked myself to the bone, and I become so hard on myself because it's always a case of, I don't see the monetary value of the work that I'm putting in. I thought if I didn't work hard, I wouldn't achieve what I wanted, but it was all false. It's all in what you put in, right? The type of work, how you structure your work. What are you doing? How are you doing it? And in the process of that, are you taking care of yourself? Because if you're not good, then certain things are not exactly going to turn out the way you want them to, you expect them to. The one thing that I missed the most is taking care of me as an individual. I always look for the next thing. I'll share a quick story about what I have achieved in my life. So I studied somatology. In 2008 until 2009. Towards the end of 2009, I dropped out because life, it became a bit harder, But from there, I went on to work, but I built my skill set. I built my skill set as a somatologist. I went on to develop a skill set of being an events planner because it's things that I enjoyed doing and I felt it was my purpose. And I taught myself in those things. I didn't feel like I had to go back to school. I didn't go back to school until 2018 when I did the social media marketing course. And only because my employment at the time encouraged it. Other than that, I wouldn't have, because Google was always there for me. YouTube was always there for me. People were always there. Find a mentor, get books that you can read, etc. Over the period of time, I managed to be a beauty therapist. I focused on makeup and nail tech. I became a beauty therapist, an events planner. I did PR, I did social media marketing. I added, art director to my list and production coordinator, because I am passionate about learning new things. I'm passionate about using my hands. I'm passionate about using my mind in a creative way to build and create beautiful things, you know. And I've never allowed school to limit me. I've never allowed anyone to limit me. Though in the process of that altogether, you have your doubts. You have your moments of talking yourself out of things or telling yourself like, you don't deserve this. Somebody else can do this better than you. That person is qualified and has more experience. They've been doing it for 10 years or however long. You start to compare yourself to other people. And that's one of the biggest things we need to learn to let go of. Comparison means nothing, you know. A person can have studied this, but your passion is different. You know, we all have passion and purpose, and it's how we use it. And there's so many projects in the world that we can do that we can't feel that me as an individual, I do not qualify to do that, or somebody else can occupy that space over me. No, if that's where God has placed you, then use it. Apply it to the best of your abilities to develop your skills more, and just be kinder to yourself in receiving these gifts. We keep saying, oh, sometimes I don't hear God talking to me. No, we don't listen. I think he talks to us every day. Or whatever's powerful being you focus on or engage with. The universe is always talking. Your spirit is always talking. We just need to listen and be open to change and be kinder to ourselves, be more loving to ourselves, take time to focus on you and heal you. That's just it. So in a nutshell, change is good, change is beautiful. And appreciate also the people that have been placed in your lives, whether it's a temporary moment or it's long-term. Appreciate every single one of them. Learn to affirm yourself and those people as often as you can, because we can only just build one another up instead of always saying, oh, you don't deserve that, or that one's better than the other. There's no need for that. We're deserving of anything we put our minds to, we put our efforts into, and we get up to achieve and succeed in. I mean, this world is big for every single one of us to live in and achieve all the things that we want to. There's not only one fashion designer. There can't only be one interior designer. There's space for every single person to succeed in living. Here's another part for me about change that I had to learn to embrace and appreciate. And this also took the help of my friends affirming me. That's why I feel like it's so important to have the right people in your life. Having studied makeup or somatology, I got used to always having makeup on, because for me, I wanted to conceal all these marks that I felt did not make me pretty enough or beautiful enough. And this stems from high school, bullying, being called names, or people thinking, oh, someone beat you up. No, I've been wearing glasses since I was in like grade 3. I wore glasses since grade 3. I put on contact lenses since grade 9. And the result of that is my circles got darker. And as normal Black people, I think, or almost every human being naturally has dark circles. But mine became darker because of that, and I had to learn to embrace that change over the years, and that took a lot. That took a lot in the sense that I did not feel pretty enough if I did not conceal them. I did not feel like anyone, in particular men, would think I'm beautiful enough if I did not conceal them. And that is essentially living for other people, not for yourself. Also, the content we consume. You study beauty because you want to highlight or define or hide certain features, but you don't use it as a highlight. You don't use it to show more of your beauty. You use it to hide it. For me, I essentially use it to hide certain marks on my face that I saw as an imperfection, and that I saw were just not meant to be there, And it's not until this year that I learned that, actually December, when I turned 31 in December, that I don't want to wear makeup anymore. I'll wear it if I feel like I need to for certain occasions, but I don't want it. And that from there I started building my confidence, and my friends saying, man, you're beautiful as you are. Makeup or not, you're beautiful. And it's not just my female friends, my guy friends as well, because you take pictures and they're like, oh, the first thing you do is have a negative comment towards how you look. And people just be like, no, man, you're beautiful. And it's not just them saying it. They believe it, they see it. You just didn't see it, And I had to learn to look at myself in the mirror and love every single part of me, and forget what has been said to me or about me and what trauma high school brought, or kind of left in my mind. I had to learn to let go of that and focus on loving myself even more. And with that happening, you come to take better care of your skin. You come to take better care of yourself and love and appreciate every speck on your face, every marking on your, not just your face, your entire body, your whole being, I look at old pictures and I'm like, oh man, I can't believe at that time I thought I was fat. And you look at it now like, oh, I was so tiny. You never appreciate yourself in the moment. You only appreciate when you reflect back and be like, I was a bit, exaggerating there. It was a bit too much. I looked good. So in me accepting and appreciating change, I got to realize that we are like plants, we're like flowers. They don't die as seasons change. They shed, so they create room for new growth. And that's what we need to do as human beings. That's what I had to learn to do for myself. And I love it so much. And that's why I also decided I don't need to wear makeup for this podcast. Maybe certain episodes I will, I don't know, when I feel like it. But child, I ain't got time. I'm not sitting and drawing faces and stuff. And I'm not discouraging anyone who does. We all do what we do for a reason and a purpose. And makeup is a beautiful thing. I just decided I don't want it anymore because of the reasons why I applied makeup, So self-love, self-care, that is very important. If you do not show people what you really love about yourself and appreciate about yourself, they won't see it. They will just take what you give them and use it how you allow them to use it. So yeah, love yourselves, take care of yourselves, be kind and loving and vulnerable with the people around you and with yourself. If you're not vulnerable to yourself as well, not just to the masses, then you won't get to understand who you really are, what you're about, what you're deserving of, what you need to let go of and create space for. You're just not creating the space or the room to grow and be bigger than life, baby. Just be bigger than life. So I'm appreciative of my life. I love it. And I just want to grow to be a better human being to myself and to the people around me. Until the next episode, with love from me. Have a lovely day.